Hello indie game fans, the first proper week of May kicks off with quite a number of titles previously covered, so it seems like a front-loaded month at the moment, so my top 10 picks starts with PUSHY and PULLY in BLOCKLAND. This is a co-op arcade experience where you and a friend need to push and pull blocks, match them, kill enemies and defeat bosses, all on your way to recover your spaceship. I do love me a good arcade experience, and me being me, the visuals alone sold me on this game. It's super bright and colourful, with fun looking characters and enemies, together with that adorable looking overworld map. Seems a little bit on the simpler side, but should be fun with a friend. The 1.0 release of the all-action Fury Unleashed releases this week in conjunction with releases on consoles, and having played it, is highly recommended for how good it feels. This is a roguelite platformer in the vein of something like Rogue Legacy or Dead Cells, set in a living comic book where you collect ink for upgrades. As with those great titles mentioned earlier, the constant progression keeps you hooked since there's always something to upgrade, with a fun mix of melee and ranged weapons and challenging boss encounters as well. This encourages building up combos by killing enemies in quick succession, so all action all the time indeed.
Looks like the spacefaring crew have found themselves in a spot of bother. Not only has their vessel sustained critical damage, but it looks like shape-shifting aliens have infiltrated their ship and are impersonating two of the crew members. Tensions are high, and no one knows who to trust. In situations like this, it is not irregular for everyone to die horrible deaths, but luckily, we are dealing with professionals, each with their own tip-top plan to survive and kill these crafty aliens, whoever they are.
Asymmetric multiplayer games can be fun, even more so when there are deception elements thrown into the mix, so enemy on board looks like an interesting one of these.
If you're an alien, you have to gather evolution points to transform and defeat the crew members. There are 3 types of aliens and enemy on board: the Infestor, Spider, and Leech. Each alien has their own method for gathering evolution points.
This is a 4v2 multiplayer title, pitting 2 aliens against 4 humans, where each side has their own objectives. Interestingly, this is free to play, so anyone can jump in, but with a perk and progression system tied in, it should keep you playing over multiple rounds. There's also built-in voice chat, which can be toxic, but also allows for plenty of deception, and while it isn't fantastically beautiful, it does seem like a great multiplayer experience.
Now board the Andromeda, figure out who's telling the truth, who's lying, and survive.
Okay, well, clearly you aren't going to be able to rely on your crew members for help. You'll just have to survive long enough to become a sword-wielding cyborg and fight these aliens head-on.
Jay and Silent Bob BRAWL.
Not too sure if this is releasing on Steam, but the Switch release is confirmed, so Jay and Silent Bob BRAWL is a retro-inspired 8-bit beat-em-up which has huge shoes to fill given that it follows Streets of Rage 4. While it's an IP created by a celebrity, this does come from an indie developer, so I guess it counts in my book, and looks like a madcap adventure as our 2 friends wage war against rent-a-cops. very retro in look, and this could be pretty neat.
The best action brawler game ever!
The developers of Old World have quite the pedigree, comprising of the minds behind some of the greatest strategy games of all time like Civilization 3 and 4 and Off-World Trading Company. Here, leaders become characters as they do age, with a focus on building a dynasty rather than just an empire, passing succession on from one generation to the next. Random events, some based on famous historical events, requires you to make strategic choices, and with 7 factions to choose from and tweaks to the classic 4X formula, this could be quite the interesting take on the genre. Just a quick note, if you are new here and enjoyed the video so far, be sure to subscribe and check out the Discord channel while you are at it. Here's to more indie gaming coverage, so back to the video. The previously covered Wintermoor Tactics Club also launches this week and is a turn-based tactics title set in a high school amid a snowball tournament, with its share of role-playing and fantasy elements as well. What I'm most looking forward to are getting to know the various rival factions in the game, like the Equestrian Club or the Psychic Detectives, and hope to have a love-hate relationship with them as I did with the teams in Pyre. That aside, wonderful hand-drawn art style and a pleasant colour palette with what seems to be quite an in-depth strategy layer. In one of the more timely games that happens to coincide with our current predicament, Tonight We Riot is an anarchy simulator where the fight is to liberate the world from the evils of capitalism. Politics aside, this is a crowd-based brawler where you control a little mob of people, leading them in revolution. There are unlockable weapons, gear and perks, and even more fantastical elements like kaiju in this. However, rioting pigmen seems like a good way of describing this, so it seems like fun and might just make you reconsider some things. Hydroneer has long been on my watch list since this is a sandbox simulation game about base construction and mining. Very Factorial-like in nature, but in first person, with the usual loop of gaining resources, crafting upgrades, selling the rest, and advancing further up the tech tree. Seems made for a very specific type of person like me who love to build and optimize systems, so a no-brainer for this list. As covered, the boss fight focus Atto is a beautiful pixel art Metroidvania that has the potential to be good since it's beautiful and has some intense looking action. play as a retired samurai who wanted to lead a quiet life when his infant child was taken from him, forcing him to follow the way of the blade once again. There doesn't seem to be any regular enemies where the exploration is more focused on puzzles and platforming, but the boss fights, the key highlight, appear to be quite varied in terms of the arenas, boss designs and the mechanics that you will encounter. This checks many of the boxes that I look for, so very excited for this one. I love city builders, so when I first saw Before We Leave, I was in love with the aesthetic, even extending to the hexagonal clouds. This is a non-violent city builder without any direct conflict, where you need to rediscover and rebuild civilization. You can create a multi-planetary resource network, but watch out for space whales that may just eat a planet or two. However, it does seem very chill and pleasant, taking the #1 spot. Special shoutout goes to the winners of the previous Twitter giveaway for Gordian Quest, Elmo, Zayef and Streaming Deluxe. And this week, I have a copy of Fury Unleashed to give away as well, so in a similar fashion, do find my tweet on this video, follow me on Twitter, and retweet to enter. The winner will be chosen on this Friday at 10 PM GMT +8, so get to it. If you enjoyed the video, why not share it with a friend? Check out even more great indie gaming videos, and in this current climate, stay safe and I will see you after the jump.